everyone. This is Barbara Nahmias from Sacred Stones and Art by Barbara. And today I'm going to show you how you can paint on stone with alcohol inks and get this very pretty result. I bought these stones. You should look for lighter color stones. I bought these at the 99-cent store. I got a whole bag for 99 cents. So this is a really fun way to do an inexpensive and very pretty project. Here's another one. You can see that with these, first I applied the color and then I drew into them with pen, which I'll talk about more later. So the first thing I do is I make sure that the stone is clean and dust-free. These were they had a little bit of a residue on them, so I actually washed them and dried them well before I started using them. And I tend to start with the lighter colors first, so that we have a nice bright background. Sometimes I'll even cover the whole stone with a light color. Very often I use snow cap as well to lighten the color even more. And I'm just kind of putting down a base. Now you don't really have to use that much ink. I even have maybe a little too much on here. So I'm just trying to get a light base to work with. Sometimes I like to use gold as well because that gives it an even brighter look. So I might apply a little gold here. I kind of like the way that's spreading out. I might even just leave it like that. One really lovely effect that you can get with the gold, and I use Pinata rich gold. I happen to like Pinata's gold. You can put color in the gold and it really kind of lights up. Let's see. I'm going to use a little darker color here, stream, just to give it some contrast. Again, you can see I'm using very little and it's spreading out on this smooth stone very nicely. I can go with a brush and maybe add a little color here and there. You can see the white is coming through when I use the brush on it. Some people like to paint the sides of everything they work with. I don't always find that you need to do that. You can always decide later. I mean, even just like this, I hardly even did anything and it looks pretty already. I'm just kind of spreading that blue a little bit. I might actually not do too much more on this. Once I have some color down, I will start to use the brush instead, and I will just put a little bit of alcohol ink on the brush itself, because if I keep dropping ink on it, it's just going to be too much ink. So I'm just painting in a little purple here. I think I'm feeling like I do want to paint the sides. But if you notice, I'm not worrying about doing everything too evenly. One of the things I really believe is that a little imperfection in art is actually better, because if it's so perfect, it looks like a manufactured product. I really love the colors just like that. Let's see if I should paint this side. Maybe I will paint the side in some gold. Usually I clean my brushes as I go along, but for purposes of this video, I'm just using different brushes. I'm using a fresh brush for each color. I'm actually thinking that that's pretty good. I might add a tiny bit of green because I'm seeing a floral pattern in here. And so maybe some green would be nice if I want to draw in some leaves. Just a little bit. Maybe just a suggestion of some greenery. Now, I didn't plan this when I decided to make this video. As with most times that I paint with alcohol ink, I don't do very much planning. I find it to be a very intuitive process. I'm just removing some ink here so that I can add the green without it getting muddy. I like those little leaf shapes that are coming out when I just press the brush down. And because I laid the white base down, you can see that some of the white is coming through and even lightening up that green a little more. If I wanted to lighten it up more, I'll just put a little snow cap on my brush. A little bit. That's kind of pretty. Yeah, maybe you can see what I'm seeing because I just kind of look into the design that is made by the way the ink's dropped. And I see some big, maybe hydrangeas, and some leaves here. And when it dries, I'm going to paint into that, draw into that a little more. I use Uniball white gel pens. I use them in either medium or fine. I don't really like the extra fine because they don't make smooth lines. And I do find that when I draw into the alcohol ink, even when it's totally dry, I have to keep a paper on the side to kind of clean off the pen tip because it does actually get, I don't know, it feels almost like it builds up on the tip a little bit, probably just from scratching away the alcohol. You know, I'm trying to draw on it now. It's really too wet, but I just wanted to give you an idea. Well, it's working a little bit of what I plan to do. Yeah, it's really too wet to do this. But I think you kind of get the idea. And the other thing I can do is I can even just draw into it with a little more white with a very fine brush. How about some little white dots here in the pink flowers? I have a little alcohol on my brush. I'm just trying to give it a little texture. Actually, it's not working all that great, but I think the reason why is it has a lot of that very thick, rich gold in it. Some of the alcohol inks are thicker than others, so it might take more alcohol to dilute them and to create texture. So anyway, that gives you a pretty good idea of how to do a very quick, fun, and inexpensive project with alcohol inks. You can pretty much paint with alcohol inks on any smooth, residue-free surface, and the lighter surfaces, as far as color, you know, the whiter the surface is, the more easy it is to, you know, to have the inks show up. When I paint on a darker surface, I tend to use a lot more of the snow cap just to lighten things up so that the alcohol inks show up better. When I was done with these two, and I waited until they were totally dry, and I drew into them with the Uniball pens, and I was happy with what I got. Then I used some artist resin, which is a little bit of a messy process, but it really gives it this clear, shiny, very protective surface. And the one that I use is called Envirotex Light Pour-On High Gloss Finish. And I got it in Home Depot, I believe, but you can also get the same thing they call in art stores. They just call it artist resin. So that's about it. I hope you had fun watching this video, and I hope you have fun painting your own rocks. Thanks. Bye-bye.